Well, today I'm going to start the construction of my compost bins. I'm going to do a 3-bin system using old pallets. These pallets I picked up from local industrial warehouse that they gave away for free. Pretty good shape, a couple broken pieces, but nothing a couple nails can't fix. But the cool part was when I was in the area, I actually saw these bottoms of galvanized bottoms of normally a plastic tote would sit on here that has a cage around it where they were disassembled, and these bottoms would make a great bottom to not only keep it off the ground, it'd be easy to shovel and keep it fully contained, but also I can extract any juices that come out of the compost pile when it's rains on it or just from the decomposition, and it would all come down to this funnel area here. There's some holes in it that I'll plug up, but I'm going to give this a shot, surround it with the pallets, and see how it works. Well, as I started the assembly, one of the things I noticed was some of these pallets had really wide gaps in them. It just depends on how they were put together. But I really don't want gaps that big, otherwise the compost is going to spill out. So I actually had some pickets laying around. I know not everyone has pickets laying around, but I was able to rip them down into strips, and now I can just set them in these gaps right here. I just cut them right down the middle with a saw, and I'll nail them in there. It'll have plenty of room to breathe, but my compost won't go spilling out. Well, I've got my spot picked out. Basically, I'm keeping it a little bit away from the house. These bins aren't that attractive to look at. The house is up the hill there. Because I'm on a sloping lot, I had to create a level area. In fact, it actually slopes just a hair to the right. I'm going to help try to drain some of that, any excess juice. It's also nice that it's going to be off the ground, because I do have this slope here that comes down in some rainwater. I don't want it soaking into a pile that's on the ground. Okay, well, I've got all of them assembled now. It was pretty easy because of, one, the level ground really helped. They all went together like a puzzle. The trays on the bottom, I ended up filling up the holes just using some silicone caulk that I had around those white spots on there. And I'm going to add some holes on the front there with some kind of drainage collection cups. Basically, I put it together with just basically a lot of screws. Some leftover screws I had, just holding the pallets together. In some areas I did use some brackets. I mean, literally some striker plates and some electrical hangers that I had left over in the garage that I would probably never use. That makes the whole backside really secure. On this side, I did use these garden stakes on the sides right here. I'm just going to add a couple screws just to give some more support to the loose ends. I've got 3 doors that I'll be hanging, and then I'll be putting in this big pile of leaves and grass I collected just 3 days ago. This is pretty cool. It's fall, and of course fall is the best time to put it together. A lot of browns, a lot of leaves falling, and a lot of grass growing. And this pile's been sitting here 3 days, and I just stuck this temperature gauge in there. It's hard to see, but it's already up to 140 degrees in the center of that pile. And I mean, compost, I mean, like they say, it just happens. That's without mixing anything else inside or doing anything to it. And I do like it contained, because when you have a pile like this, it just gets out of control and weeds start growing out of it, and it's just a mess. So if you've got a bigger property, this larger 3-bin system works really well, and I'll be filling it up soon. Okay, now as I'm starting to fill the compost pile, there's different ratios of how much brown and carbons you use versus the greens. The browns are any of the leaves, pine needles, things like that. That's why I said fall's the best time. This pile right here was basically from my yard, just through the lawnmower, vacuuming it up. Actually chipped a lot of the leaves into smaller pieces, which aids in the decomposition process. But also then you can bring in your food scraps that would normally go to the dump. We've been saving some in a bin, which we'll probably continue to do, probably maybe the smaller one, and bring out every few days or once a week, just because it's not too close to the house. But I mean, you can have everything in here, from banana peels, orange peels, eggshells are great, a little bit of bread, some flowers that went bad, stuff the kids don't fully eat, even a little bit of rice in there. You just don't want grease and meat products, things like that, where animals will come in and you start getting some stench. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sprinkling some of that around and just kind of let it work its way into the pile, and just do layers. Sometimes people say the ratio should be about 60% brown, 40% green, layered or mixed, and keeping it a little bit moist. They always say damp as a sponge. So we'll see what happens with all this. Well, I decided since I wanted to get a jump start on spraying and gardening and getting a lot of mulch, I filled 2 of the bins. It's going to settle to about half that size, and then I can mix it about every week, get that hot stuff in the middle to the outside and the cool stuff back to the center. And turning it once a week using a pitchfork there helps quite a bit. And then I'll transfer it to the last bin, which it'll sit again for a little while, stirring it up as often as you can, because it does heat up quick. And in conclusion, pretty easy. This whole thing took me about a day, from getting all the materials to putting it together and leveling out a spot. It was completely free. Instead of buying the plastic bins and using more plastic goods and things like that, you could do a large quantity. If a pallet goes bad, you can swap it out and put a new one. And overall, it's good for the environment. Make your own compost and mulch instead of buying it. And you got somewhere to put your food scraps instead of putting it in the landfill. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.